later on today, 3 to 5 for a little bit of a tailgate, a pregame showdown, a little bit of a, hey, let's get some more people to the game. And Lansing Brewing Company's got a couple of tickets that they want to give away to you, really good tickets too. On top of that, they got $10 cases. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So make sure you go to Lansing Brewing Company later on today, 3 to 5. They're in East Lansing, and you will have a great time, even if you don't get those 2 tickets to the game tonight between Michigan State and Michigan. And if you're not going to the game and you're in the area, come on by Soaring Eagle tonight. Inside Ascend, we got the watch party. It's going to be Mitch Lyons, former Spartan tight end, Jimmy King, former Fab Five member, and me watching the game with you, having some good cold drinks. I'll be drinking some beers and some really good food. The Ascend Burger is, I should order it right now because it's going to be there for me. Pistons last night, falling Phoenix 114-96. Dylan Brooks was the best player on the floor. I know Cade Cunningham's the best player in the building. But on this night, on last night, on Thursday night, it was Dylan Brooks who had a career-high 40. He had a career-high 38 after 3 and then just popped in a couple there in the 4th. And Phoenix sweeps the season series from the Pistons. 4 starters reach double figures. The surprising thing about this one is that they own the glass by 10, 47-37, and they hit 16 triples to Detroit's 6. The aforementioned Cade Cunningham had 26 points. Jalen Duren had 23 points, 13 boards. And the Pistons will visit Golden State tonight. Every time Detroit loses a game, it happened against Houston, and it happened again last night, people start to complain. Okay, this is why this team needs outside shooters. And then the arguments, the debates then ensue on who that player should be. I've had some suggestions. I don't think the Giannis Antetokounmpo stuff, it sure looks like he's played his last game in Milwaukee. By all accounts, he's played his last game in Milwaukee. He's accepted it, and apparently the organization has. So they are aggressively pursuing the best trade packages. The teams closely associated with him would be the Knicks, the Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, primarily. Certain reports indicate that he wants to go to New York. I don't care, okay? I wouldn't give up what many people feel. In the NBA, you got to come close to matching those salaries, right? A certain percentage to match those salaries. And because Detroit has so much capital in terms of draft picks, everybody assumes Detroit should be in that mix too. I don't think they are. I don't think Trajan Langdon just goes, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give up 3 players who have been integral to our success over the last 2 years, and we're going to give up the future as well for a guy who has a contract through next year, and that's it. Wouldn't do that. And I don't think he's going to either. And it's a guy who I think is a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. But he's a guy who also gets hurt a lot lately. Like we talk about Anthony Davis getting hurt. This guy gets hurt a lot. So who is that guy that Detroit needs to try and boost their rating, if you will, in the East and calm some fears on some things that they don't do exceptionally well? There's a number of different names. Zach LaVine, for example, DeMar DeRozan, for example. But we're not sure who that would be. We just think, what Trajan Langdon's going to do is the right thing. He's going to keep the bulk of this team together. He's not going to give up a ton to get something that's going to help his team fend off anybody else. This team is good enough. They need to be tweaked. There's no question. This team does need a shooter. I'll say that after a win or after a loss. It doesn't matter to me. They can beat Denver. I'll still say it. They can lose to a team like last night in Phoenix, and I'll still say it. But you don't have to implode your team, not just because you want to hold on to your guys and the chemistry and all that other stuff. It's just because the price is too much. Sometimes you've got to say no. You go furniture shopping. If a couch is $6,000 and you can get something just as comfortable or pretty close to it for half that, you just don't go to the big name store. What are you going to do? I mean, unless you got money to burn, I suppose. I do the latter. Red Wings losing a shootout to the Capitals 4-3. Alex DeBrincat was great, man. He had 2 goals, including that fluky goal with 51 seconds left in regulation to force overtime. Hit off the camera stanchion or the camera hole there and then darted in. One of the flukiest goals you'll ever see in hockey. But Nick Dowd's stick work, his hands were unbelievable in the shootout winner. Washington gets the extra point. Detroit is now 2 points back of Tampa in the Atlantic, and they also trail Carolina in the conference because both those teams were winners. Tampa looked so good last night in a 4-1 win, and then you saw Carolina come back against Utah. It was crazy. They scored like 3 goals in the last 3 minutes to win that. So 70 points back, or 70 points for Detroit, but a couple of points back in the division. And then, of course, we all know what's at stake here tonight. Bragging rights, at least for a short period of time, between Michigan and Michigan State. Both teams in the top 10. The Spartans have won 4 straight in the series, 7 in a row at home. Michigan, in fact, is just 3-20 in their last 23 trips to East Lansing. Why can that change? Brian Bush will join us, the Michigan basketball play-by-play voice, at 8:35. Mitch Lyons, well, poll question of the day. We had one for you yesterday as well. Who's Michigan's best player? Is it Johnson, Landelborg, McKinney, or other? Vote as often as you want. We'll give you the results on Monday. Plenty to get to, including some cool NBA nuggets when we come back on X's and Bros. Brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Step into luxury this January with a $275,000 Escalade giveaway at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 2 lucky guests will win $250 in premium play and 250 bonus entries every hour. And don't miss the grand finale on January 30th and 31st at 11 p.m. One lucky winner each night will drive away in a 2026 Cadillac Escalade. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Good night of sports action for sure. Thursday night, but on this Ferris Coffee Friday, we talk about that a little bit and preview what's coming up tonight. Again, Brian Bush, Michigan basketball play-by-play voice, will join us at 8:35. 6:35, we will replay our Saudi Washington interview from yesterday. He's the Michigan State assistant coach, the fantastic dude, great perspective because he was on John Beilein's bench at Michigan, and now he's on Tom Izzo's bench at Michigan State. He's also been on Greg Campy's bench at Oakland. He played at Western Michigan. He played overseas. He's got a great perspective of what Michigan State has done so far this year and done it well. And he's also got a really unique perspective of the Michigan State battle. So we'll replay that for you at 6:35. Some things from last night. First, Dallas retired Mark Aguirre's number. Good for them and good for him. Mark Aguirre, who was number 24 there in Dallas, played 8 years there with the Mavericks, was a 3-time All-Star there with the Mavericks, led the NBA in field goals made and field goals attempted 1 year there in Dallas, and is truly one of that franchises. Also averaged almost 30 points per game in his third year there in Dallas. Truly is one of the best players the Dallas Mavericks have ever had. He's not better than Dirk Nowitzki. I'm not suggesting that, but he's one of their best players of all time. Rolando Blackman is another one of those guys. So Mark Aguirre, congratulations to him. He's got 2 championships, but both came in Detroit. And it was pretty cool because Isaiah Thomas was there with him. And that meant an awful lot, I think, to Mark Aguirre, at least from what he said and what was being reported. We were talking earlier about the possible trade that, every time the Pistons lose, people pop up on social media. Oh my God, this team is in desperate need of a shooter. Who that is, I don't know. I try to follow certain players. It's the same thing in hockey. I think the Red Wings are going to make a deal. Vincent Trocheck, would be a really good guy. He'd be a second line center for this team. Elias Pettersson would be a pretty good fit for Detroit, and I would like to see. I'd rather have Trocheck personally. Pettersson's been, even though he's 27, he's got a longer contract. Number one, but number two, he hasn't been nearly as productive. But Trocheck would really solidify your middle. Pettersson would too. All right, so maybe there's something to that, but the amount of money, the price tag that it comes with Pettersson might be a little steep for my liking. Either way, I think they're going to make a move. The same thing with the Pistons, who that is. Now, the Pelicans didn't play last night, but I'm following Trey Murphy, the third, and to see what he does on a regular basis. Dude averages 22 points and 6 rebounds per game, so I think he would be a really good fit for Detroit. He also is engaged defensively. He's not going to make all NBA defensive team, but he's engaged defensively, more so than a Michael Porter Jr., for example, which is the common name that a lot of people are bringing up. Anyway, don't want to digress too much, but those are just some of the things that I was thinking about last night while following hockey and following the NBA. And if you're following hockey last night, besides the Red Wings losing and the incredible comeback by Carolina and the high-scoring game between the Canadiens and the Avs, in which the Avs were playing as the Hartford Whalers, the Quebec Nordique, which was really cool. I mean, that was badass. When you saw those two teams come out, the Quebec Nordique jerseys and Montreal's up big 5-1. Then suddenly the Avs come back. They're pulled within 2, and then Montreal responds right away. Suddenly they win at 7-3. And of course, you're watching Tampa blow out the Lightning, or blow out the Jets, I should say, 4-1. But the Islanders and Rangers played. So kind of sneak peeking in on that as well, because it's a pretty damn good rivalry, obviously. And because, I'm thinking, okay, Vincent Trocheck might be a guy who wants to play for the Wings. He played a Little Caesars here. From all reports, listening to a podcast yesterday, Spittin' Chicklets, they said that his wife would like it here. Okay. I don't know that situation, but it's an approval thing. I think a lot of hockey players would like coming here. I do. Maybe it's the one sport where players do not, quote unquote, care about all the other things that so many other people in this area and outside of Detroit feel like are important to athletes, you don't want to go to Detroit. Why not?
A lot of that probably has to do with the way hockey athletes are wired too, which I have a lot of respect for.
100%.
You know, they don't always look at the nightlife and what the city has to offer as opposed to just, is it a good hockey situation? Yes.
100%. You know what's unique about that take, though? Of all the sports, the hockey players are the ones who live here more than anybody.
Yeah.
Year round.
Yeah.
Year round. NBA guys go. Baseball players for sure go, and you can understand why. In the wintertime, you're not getting work done, right?
Right.
They're going to go to Arizona. They're going to California. They're going to Florida. All right? They're going to Texas. That's where they go. And I get that. Football players, same thing. Most of them. I'm not saying all of them. Most of them go back to, their homes. They'll rent here. So hockey players a lot of times just live. Anyway, Trocheck last night did not get on the board in a 2-1 loss to the Islanders and was a -1. In case you're wondering. I don't know if you are, but it might be a name you want to follow moving forward. All right? I suppose we could do the same thing with Pettersson. He plays in Vancouver. Vancouver did not play last night. At least I don't think they did. I wasn't staying up late for that one. They did. They played the Ducks, and they won 2-0. So let me look here. Talk amongst yourselves. Pettersson had a shot on goal and was 2 shots on goal was a plus. It was an even. So nothing special. Didn't factor into their 2-0 win, but they did win. So there you go. There's your update from guys who Shep might want as a Red Wing trade candidate. There you go. But speaking of basketball, Cooper Flagg had 49 points last night. Did you see this at all?
Yeah, he was remarkable.
Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
And he broke Mark Aguirre's record to start.
He did. Yeah. So you get that.
Rookie
He's
record.
Also the youngest player in NBA history. You've had a lot of great players play as a young teenager or as a late teenager or an early 20-year-old, right? In a loss to the Hornets, 123-121, Cooper Flagg had 49 points. He took 29 shots to get there, but he went 20 of 29. Trent, would you take 20 of 29 from the floor?
Every single night.
Absolutely.
Without question.
Would you take 3 of 5 from 3?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would you take a perfect 6 or 6 from the free throw line? No doubt. Would you take 10 rebounds? No doubt. Would you take just 2 turnovers? For sure.
Nearly flawless game for Cooper Flagg. By NBA standards, that's remarkable.
Look, this is going to be hyperbolic, okay? It is. But I'm going to say it anyway. Is he one of, not just the best rookie, and Knippel, by the way, had 30, what did he have, 39, something like that? He was pretty damn good, too.
Yeah, they were dueling back and forth, and that was fun to watch because those guys are brothers, so.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Duke
cool
brothers.
To hear what they both had to say after the game.
Duke brothers. Yeah, Duke brothers. Yeah, for sure. They combined, let's see, Flagg scored, okay, he had 29, excuse me. They combined to score 80 points. They hit 10 plus threes, 65% combined field goal shooting. Both were perfect from the free throw line, and both had 2 or fewer turnovers. It's the only game in NBA history that has seen 2 players, teammates or opponents, combined for that. 80 plus points, okay? 10 plus threes made, 65% from the floor, 100% from the stripe, and 2 or fewer turnovers.
And Knippel 8 for 12 from 3. 8 threes.
Yeah, he really good. Like
eight threes is impressive. 8 for 12.
That kid's coming out as a freshman. But anyway, I'm saying this: is Cooper Flagg one of the best players in the league?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. Yes.
I think he is too. I don't think he's. Look, both of those guys, if it might surprise you a little bit, Knippel is averaging slightly more, 18.9 to 18.8. They're top 40 players.
Yeah, I'd say even higher than that. And here's the thing too, Shep, if we, not you and I, but if NBA fans are going to be so quick to judge Cooper Flagg and put him down in the first 5 games of the season, then why can't they be quick to crown him a top 30 player?
Right. Him and Knippel
both of them
shooting. Yeah. They're both shooting better than 40%, 47% from the floor. All right. And Knippel is shooting 43% from deep. That dude is really good. They're both outstanding players. We're going to replay the Saudi Washington interview that we had yesterday. There's another little tidbit from the NBA last night that I want to get to a little bit later on. But when we come back, because it's Michigan State, we'll replay Sadi Washington, assistant coach, Michigan State University. He joined us yesterday. You'll enjoy the conversation if you missed it yesterday here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. Okay, working toward getting Sadie Washington on the show. Almost 2 decades, 2 decades of coaching experience. And he's learned from some of the best. He learned from Greg Campy at Oakland. He learned from John Beelan at Michigan. And he's learning from Tom Izzo now. And you talk about a resume builder. That's pretty impressive. You've got those 3 coaches, guys you've called friends, guys you've called mentors. How another school doesn't take a run at him to be their head coach is beyond me. I don't understand how that could possibly be, but maybe the right possibility hasn't come along for him yet. You know, when coaches have families, that's something that they have to take into consideration. All right. So you want to see your kids grow up a little bit so you can understand why Sadie Washington maybe would turn some opportunities down. I just know this. If I'm an athletic director and I want a good coach, I'm knocking on his door. I'm making a phone call to him. There's no question about that. Oh, he's with us now. Okay. Sadie Washington joins us here on X's and Bros. How are you, my friend? How's your family?
I'm doing well, my man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Congratulations on all the success. It doesn't come as a surprise at all. I want to ask you about what you like most about what your team did the other night against Rutgers. You know, it's easy to sit there and look ahead to a rivalry game. It's also easy to say, you know what, we've gotten to within 5 and then they push it back to 7 or 9 and the shoulders start to shrug a little bit and the heads droop. Your team doesn't do that. What impressed you most about the roadkill in overtime at Rutgers?
Yeah, you know, that was a big-time character-revealing game for us in a whole lot of different ways because, you know, when you break it down, Shep, like a common person would say we didn't have any business, you know, winning that game. And, you know, anybody who's played in this league knows that road games are tough. And then you go into environments like the RAC, regardless of, you know, how their team is performing from any given year. That's a tough playing environment. But what it showed is our team had the composure, you know, to withstand the run. We held each other accountable to it. And then the competitive nature kicked in and we were able to make enough plays, right, in regulation and then on into overtime to come out on top. So, you know, we'll take the what will be received as the pretty wins and the ugly wins, as long as it's a win.
You know what it's like. Look, you were a really good player at Western Michigan. You played overseas. You've been around some really good guards. Jeremy Fears seems to be getting better as the season moves on, not just because of points, but vision, decisions, and things of that nature. How much do you appreciate what he brings to the table night in and night out for your Spartan club?
Man, you know, every great team that I've been a part of has started with a great point guard, right? Yeah. Like he's the extension of Coach Izzo. And, you know, the kid worked his tail off this summer to elevate different parts of his game. And, you know, he had a full year of just being healthy and recovering. So, you know, you see some of his explosiveness come back. He's always been a great facilitator with the ball. And now, you know, his shooting from the perimeter has improved. And so he is the heartbeat of our team. And, you know, for him to have the kind of season that he's having right now is a big testament to the hard work that he's put in the off season.
What's the most underrated part of your team? I think when people look at Michigan State, they understand the defensive intensity and the rebounding aspect, all very impressive. But there's an underrated part of what your team is doing too. What is that?
Yeah, you know, I think our strength is our numbers. You know, that was kind of really the thing that propelled us last season. You know, we have the depth, positional depth at every position that kind of morph into what we need to be on any given game. But I really believe, Shep, the secret sauce is our connectivity. You know, in a landscape where college athletics is ever changing and ever evolving, you still have to go to war with the right guys in your locker room. And I can say without a doubt that we have a group of individuals in our locker room and in our hallways that project the right things. And I think that is really the most underrated thing about our program and our team as a whole.
Yeah, I love that answer. Saudi Washington, outstanding assistant coach, Michigan State, as they get ready for Michigan's invasion of the Breslin Center on Friday night. We want to send you there with 2 tickets. All you got to do is text, in order to register, text Soaring Eagle to 21,000, and you will register, and we'll draw that winner later on today at Soaring Eagle. The other guy I want to ask you a little bit about is, and I don't look at college players as if they're going to be NBA players. It's okay to be a really good college basketball player. You were that.
Yeah.
You were a really good college basketball. Jackson Kohler, I don't know what his future lies, but here's what I do know. In watching him progress year after year at Michigan State, he has gotten better in just about every single aspect. Where am I wrong?
You're not wrong at all. I mean, that kid, is the single most hardest working guy in our program. And, he may not have the sexy name, but when you watch him play, we're not where we're at without his development, without his contributions on both sides of the ball. The young man he comes and brings it every single day. He makes himself better. He makes his teammate better with the way he approaches his job. And, for someone who has been really hands-on with him from a positional, coaching him from a positional standpoint, he's made my life a whole lot easier. He made, Coach Izzo's life a whole lot easier. And, Jax has been phenomenal in his role. And, we stand on his shoulders as well as a guy who's going to help carry us to where we want to go.
Yeah, first ever player from the state of Utah to play at Michigan State. Another guy you work closely with Cohen Carr. Everybody gets caught up in his dunks, and I love him too. Don't get me wrong. But he has improved his outside game too. What have you worked on most with him to try and help him kind of get that NBA level feel from the outside in his jumper?
Yeah, well, I don't work with him as much as maybe I used to in the past. He more works with our perimeter coaches. But I would tell you this: at the end of last season, he understood where the areas where he needs to grow, specifically in his perimeter shooting. And when I tell you, it wasn't a week that we had came home from the Elite Eight, that kid spent the rest of his time in the gym, really refining his technique, gaining confidence. I mean, coming out of the spring and summer and into the fall, he was shooting the ball with a high confidence. So it's been really awesome to see him kind of get back into that headspace. And, it's been documented. Coach Izzo's talked about him like, we're going to hang in there with that dude because he's given us so much. And, that's really what it's about, the development, the process of it all. And when you can see a kid, the things that he's been working on come to fruition, like that's coaching. And that's the enjoyment that we have, is being able to be a part of his process of getting better.
How do you describe the feel of a rivalry game compared to a regular season game?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. Like, I don't know. Everybody approaches it different. I always say, like you approach every game the same, but there are some games that are different. And, Michigan State has had a storied tradition. And I think I recently saw somewhere where this is the first time in, maybe over 20 years where both teams combined rankings. Like, this is like the highest combined ranking. So it's great for both programs. It's great for the state. It's great for the community. It's great for TV. And, we're all into the meat and potatoes of our schedule now. And so, I expect both teams to play their best, and hopefully we will play at least 1 point better than our opponent. But it's going to be a knockdown, drag out type of fest, and we're gonna continue to prep today and be ready for a great matchup tomorrow.
I know you will be. I've asked this of football coaches in the past. So, but I'm interested to get your take too, because you play them twice, and you play them twice in a short period of time. Do you ever get concerned about your players being too energized, too overhyped? And if so, how do you handle that?
No, I don't. I mean, it's part of the game. Like it's part of the game that you really kind of accept. And the early part of the game, yes, it's going to be high octane for both teams, and then eventually it kind of levels out, and then both teams start competing, and you kind of got to manage the emotion of it all a little bit, but you also want the raw emotion of it to really help your team focus and lock in on all the little details that are going to matter from one possession to the next. And, you asked about the feeling of it all. It's like we both had two really hard games the other night where it took everything we both had to squeak out a win. And now, to be able to point that energy toward one another, it's like, let's get to it. Right. And again, I think that both teams will be prepared. Both teams are playing at the top of our games. And we'll see, where it all falls tomorrow evening.
I love the dislike by both programs, but I also greatly appreciate how much both programs respect one another. So far, with Michigan being ranked third in the country, what do you respect most about what they've done this year?
I respect the consistency that they've had this year. Like they had a stretch early in the non-conference that was no, I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing the type of wins and the point differential that they had for, a 7-8 game stretch. And so, you take your hat off to them in the way that they've been able to do it. And, but I'm confident in, what we've been doing all season. And I'm excited, to test ourselves against another powerhouse team in our conference.
Yeah, well, you guys have proven yourself time in and time out, thanks to your help for sure. Last thing before I let you go, and I appreciate the time, what will be most important tomorrow night?
I think consistency and being our best version of ourselves. If we can be our best version of ourselves, then we put ourselves in a position to win the game. And that's all that you can ask for.
Your girl's all right?
My daughter's doing great. My son is doing great. The wifey is doing great. And, the Washingtons are well, man. Thanks for asking.
Well, your wife is the champion of the house because of how many hours you put in. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So we never lose sight of that. She's been outstanding for as long as I've known you. You're such a good man. I appreciate the time. You should be a head coach somewhere, but Michigan State's lucky to have you. Thanks for the time today, Sadi.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, you bet. That's Sadi Washington, outstanding assistant coach from Michigan State University. Looking forward to the showdown tomorrow night. Man, it's going to be awesome. It is. I hope people understand and appreciate this good fortune we have. Not that we've never seen it before. We have, okay? Michigan State, what is it, 27 years in the NCAA tournament, consecutive seasons? Michigan with a little bump there in between Beeline and May. The Juwan Howard years, you want to toss those out? Overall, been pretty good over the last 15 years or so. I'm not comparing it to Duke, North Carolina, but I do think it's a hell of a rivalry. I do. Where does it rank for Michigan State and Michigan fans? Where does it rank in the sports? Now, I've said this for a long time. I think the hockey rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State is pretty damn high. I do. They play each other a couple times a year. and they get after it, and it's physical. And in that sport, you can be, right? In a 0-0 game. And you're more apt to see an upset, I think, in that sport because of a guy who might be in net. Ryan Miller of the past, although those teams were great. Jeff Lurg in the past, although those teams were great, right? Than you would in some of the other sports. Football, I'm not sure exactly where it ranks because of that Michigan-Ohio State thing, right? Basketball, there is no doubt, and hockey, there is no doubt who the rival truly is. That's why I truly respect it. Michigan State could talk about a team like Purdue. Michigan at times could talk about a team like Wisconsin. But deep down inside, the two schools, it's against one another. And it hasn't always been this way. It took a while for it to get this way. But those two schools against one another, that is a deep-rooted disdain for one another in basketball. It's awesome. And the atmosphere tomorrow, if you're not going, you should be jealous. If you are going, you should feel like you're privileged because it's going to be a spectacular event at the Breslin Center in front of that Izzo. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You could text us Sports Radio 21000. A timeout here.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, back with you here on this Ferris Coffee Friday. Excited for sure to talk with Brian Bush, 8:35. We'll get the Michigan perspective. We just heard from Sadie Washington, Michigan State assistant coach, and we will hear from Brian Bush a little bit later on. We were talking just before the interview with Sadie Washington about what Cooper Flagg did last night in a loss to Charlotte, 49 points. Just amazing. Con Knippel was really good too. Flagg had a double-double. Here's another one for you, all right, real quick, and then we'll move on. Victor Wembanyama. Now, I don't know how you feel about it. When people talk about the MVP, they think of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, thanks to last year, and how good his team is this year. They think of Luka Doncic strictly because of scoring. I don't want to hear from people about, well, you got to play both ends of the ice. You got to play both ends of the floor, all that crap, okay? I want to see defense, and I want to see you swing the bat well, in baseball. Not if you're sitting there saying Luka Doncic is the best player in the NBA. I don't want to hear it. The dude can score flat out. One of the best scorers I've seen in a long time, right? We talk about the greatest scorers in the NBA history. Eventually, he will be among them. He's not now, but eventually he will be among them. He'll be one of the top 100 players of all time, top 75 players of all time, probably. But defensively, it's terrible. Cade Cunningham deserves to be in that conversation, right? Victor Wembanyama, people in San Antonio are talking about Victor Wembanyama, and for good reason, too. I don't blame them. Through 150 career games, let me give you something here real quick. He's got more points than Kevin Durant. He's got more rebounds than Charles Barkley. And he's got more triples made than Steph Curry. On top of that, he has more blocks than Akeem Olajuwon. That's impressive. Here's another thing that's impressive, and I want desperately. I don't know if you've seen this. The world's first indoor 9-hole golf course is currently being built. It's called the Megalodome Golf in Oswego, Illinois. It's going to open in 2027. The course features 3 domes. It's a $50 million project. Trent, the pictures look absolutely amazing.
Oh, they always do.
Dude.
The renderings always look really good.
Look, when you put $50 million into a project, and quite honestly, I think that was light. This looks like it would cost a lot more than $50 million. But when you put $50 million into a project like this, you're not scrimping, right?
Right.
Okay. So I would look at the renderings and say, okay, that's possible. 9 holes indoors. They're going to kill it during the winter. Without a doubt. They'll kill it on rainy days.
Well, where else are you going to go? You can go to the
you can
simulator.
Go to simulator. Yeah. Would you do that in the summertime? Would you play 9 holes indoors in the summertime?
It wouldn't be my first choice, but if I really wanted to golf and it was a really nice day and I couldn't find a tee time somewhere and my only option was to golf indoors, hell yeah.
Me too.
Why not? If that's your only option.
Well, for some people, look, 9 holes is not ideal for me. I want to play 18. However, if you're in a time crunch, okay, you're not going to get rained out. You don't have to button up just in case. When the snow melts, it's still a little nippy. I'll play in. I played last year. 38 degrees was the coldest I played in.
Wow.
It was sunny. I had a layer or two on. I loosened up just fine.
I'm softer than you, as if we didn't know that. But
no,
holy cow, I wouldn't golf in 38 degrees.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was sunny. Now, if the sun weren't out, I probably wouldn't have gone. But I golfed in 38 degrees, 40 degrees more than once last year. Okay, I had no problem with it. All right, it gets a little tight. You got to dress up a little bit warmer than usual. This, obviously, you don't have to worry about that, right? The conditions are fine. Everything's great. You work on your swing. God dang, man, this looks like a great idea. Why wouldn't you do this in Michigan, especially Michigan, considering, the golf-crazed state we live in, and more. What an investment that would be. Don't you think something like this would absolutely kill it?
Yeah,
in
and
the
maybe
state of Michigan. Yeah.
Maybe it just takes one of these places to get smart and do it, and then everyone else will follow suit. Who knows? This could be over the next 5-10 years, Shep. This could be a huge industry that we see pop off. Because you're right. People in Michigan love their golf, and they are so rabid. They're salivating during the winter to get back out on the real course, not just the simulator. So if you had an indoor course, I think there's a huge market for it. Huge audience.
I do too. Would you invest in something like this?
Yep, I would. Because as you're talking about it, I can't believe it's not more of a thing already, if you know what I mean.
I do too. Somebody in Michigan has got to try something like this.
It's like the best idea nobody's had yet. Like the simulator's a great idea, but how about we just scrap that indoor golf, period? Great conditions.
But here's the
you can
thing.
golf during the winter.
It is super costly, right? It's not just $50 million. You've got to buy the land. So it's got to be. You could put a couple in, of course, but maybe you put it somewhere between. It's got to be heavily popularized, right? So Metro Detroit probably works. Outside of Grand Rapids probably works. You've got to find the land. People have to be. You got to get those golfers. Are you really going to do that up north? You might consider it in northern Michigan. I've got friends who go up to their cottages. They go up to their summer homes. Sometimes during the winter, what's there to do? In fact, friends of ours who are up there, it's a beautiful place right on one of the lakes. I forget which lake it is. Anyway, they said why don't we come up, why don't you guys come up in February? Now, I can't do it because I've got some things going on. But I said to my buddy, eventually let's get up there. What is it? We've been up there in the summer. You go to wineries and you go on the water, of course, right? And you hang out and you go walking around little downtowns and you shop a little bit and so on and so forth. It's, in the wintertime, what are we doing in the wintertime? Well, it's pretty much staying inside, playing a lot of cards, telling stories and so on and so on. Okay, I mean that's cool. I mean, I like you. I'm not sure you're going to like me for after 2 days. But this would solve that issue. Let's go play 9 holes like that. I find it fascinating. And I wonder if people would be into something like that. Even look, during the wintertime, it's obvious. Is that the new wave other than platform golf? The golf the simulator you have in there on a regular basis. I don't know. Hey, I just found this out, and I'm sure you did too. According to reports, Josh Allen played the last 4 games of the season with a broken right foot. Have you heard that? The procedure that he recently had, he needed to get, he had to have surgery, but he aggravated a broken bone in his foot week 16 against Cleveland. So we just had surgery on his 5th metatarsal avulsion. I have no idea what the hell that is. Doctors out there who are a lot smarter than me, didn't even need me to butcher that pronunciation, would be able to understand. The projected recovery for the foot is 8 to 10 weeks. Buffalo went 2-2 over that stretch. That included that wild card win over Jacksonville. Not bad, huh? I wonder how much that matters to people who naysay things about Josh Allen. You gutted through a broken foot. Now, it wasn't a club foot. It wasn't, like the whole foot was in a cast, but you got a broken bone in there, prevents you from doing something. Hell of a player. And the myth until he wins a Super Bowl will continue, but stuff like that continues as well. When we come back, Dan Campbell, where does he rank among coaches hired since 2021? A website has him near the top. We'll explain after this on X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you by Meijer.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is a managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
You guys are awesome, too, because every year you want me to tell you how much I hate them. So I will say it again. I hate them. Of course I hate them. They hate us. You think I'm getting Valentine's Day cards or birthday cards? It's the way it is, guys. It's no different in any way in America. The key word is respect, and I do respect them a lot. So that's all that matters. When I die, I don't care if anybody likes me or not. I care if they respect me. So that's the way I look at the rivalry, you know?
You know what? I package that for me. Use it for every person alive. Seriously. There are too many of us who care what other people think. The most important thing is, do they respect you, first and foremost, just like Tom Izzo said. Second of all, the people you should care most about are the people who are closest to you. Look, just like Tom Izzo, I don't care what most people think. I care what my family thinks. I care what my close friends think. I do respect our callers and our texters and the people who want to share their opinion. I respect that. But if you don't like me, I mean, okay. I mean, that's just the way it goes, unfortunately. You know, how are you going to change that? I'll be honest with you, upfront and honest, okay? Social media, I did Tigers, was not a pleasant place to be. You know, people just did not be. So many people. But I know there was a lot of people who did like me because they came up and told me to my face, you know, and I greatly appreciated that. In the end, you put your head on the pillow, are your kids proud of you? Are your friends proud of you? That's the most important thing. Michigan State, they don't like each other. They're not supposed to. Why would we think anything differently, okay? It's no different than Duke and North Carolina, Alabama and Auburn, USC and UCLA, Texas and Texas A&M. I mean, what's the big deal? I love that about this rivalry. Don't you? Don't you love the fact that you've got someone who you despise so much that you would almost rather them lose than you win in a different game, of course. You know what I mean? That's what makes the rivalry great. But as Izzo said, the respect is definitely there. I don't think the respect has always been. Brian Ellerby days, please give me a break. But the John Beeline days against Tom Izzo, and maybe we'll see what happens with Dusty May. Last year, Michigan State won by double digits twice. They've won by double digits in each of the last 4 games, I believe. And they've owned the rivalry at the Breslin Center, winning 20 of the last 23 games there. It doesn't mean they don't respect them. They hate them. That's a good thing in sports. Doesn't mean he takes it outside the arena and says, I hate that coach or I hate that player. No, that's wrong. John Beeline in Michigan loved Cassius Winston. John Beeline told me Denzel Valentine's one of the best players he ever, one of those players he wanted desperately at Michigan. Why? Because of his basketball IQ, his ability to pass, his ability to change the game in so many different ways. And when he went to Michigan State, he loved watching him play. Tom Izzo, I'm sure there was plenty of guys at Michigan. Tom Izzo not just wanted, but when he watched them play, great respect for how they played the game of basketball. Doesn't mean you have to love them. Doesn't mean that you have to have Christmas cards with them or celebrate New Year's Eve with them. It just means that you respected what they did and what they brought to the rivalry. Sweet. I love that. But I hope people could take that over and carry it into life too. Stop being so worried about what everybody thinks. As long as you're professional, you want them to respect you for sure. Quick stat for you. I just saw this on OptaStats. Most combined points by opposing rookies in a regular season NBA game. 91 combined, Tiny Archibald and Pete Maravich. 85, Wilt Chamberlain and Johnny Green. And 83 now, Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple. Pretty awesome. Very, very cool. All right, let me get to some football discussion here with you, if you don't mind. Recently, ESPN came out with an article about the top NFL hires since 2021. Where do you think Dan Campbell falls on that list? Dan Campbell is number 1. Since 2021, 5 seasons, obviously, a 57 win percentage. Here's what ESPN writes on why Dan Campbell is number 1. It's worth noting just how low the Lions were before Campbell arrived. Detroit had gone 14-33-1 under Matt Patricia and interim coach Darrell Bevell. It hadn't won a playoff game since 1991. One of the first things new general manager Brad Holmes did was trade Matthew Stafford to the Rams for 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff, who was essentially a salary dump from an organization that had completely lost faith in the 2016 first overall pick. The only significant player from the roster Campbell inherited who is still on the team was offensive tackle Taylor Decker. This has been a complete rebuild in Detroit. When I read that for the first time, I thought, do I appreciate that enough? In all seriousness, do I appreciate the fact that of the, I guess you would say 22 impactful, there's more than that with special teams and things of that nature, but offensively and defensively, with the 22 guys, starters, because even though you have rotational defensive tackles and sometimes you have slot corners and things of that nature, let's just say 22, one guy was left over from that absolute mess, that absolute blank show of Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. One guy, Taylor Decker. And he may be gone after this year. He may be gone. He may retire. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure any of us truly appreciate it. We talk about rebuilds. We talk about what Brad Holmes has done through the draft. We don't take it into context nearly enough that every single position, except the left tackle, is new from 2021, from what they inherited. They write, it took a year and a half of frustrating losses, but Campbell turned the Lions into one of the league's model organizations. Yes, 2025 was frustrating as the Lions missed departed offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. What about Aaron Glenn? They didn't miss Aaron Glenn? I hate to tell you this, but the defense was worse than the offense this year.
Yeah, they might have missed Aaron Glenn more. In fact, I think they did, but
they don't bring up Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn sucks with the Jets. 3 wins this year, just fired 9 coaches. The way he handled Wink Martindale, we talked about it yesterday. People should be wondering, is he a bad guy? Nothing about that. In New York, yes. Nationally, no. Why is that? We've got analysts who played 22 career games suggesting that Shedeur Sanders should not go out there and listen to his new head coach, Todd Monken.
Ridiculous sentiment.
You know why? Because he's never been a head coach. But that same analyst sits there and says, what a great hire by Buffalo, Joe Brady. Joe Brady's never been a head coach. Should Josh Allen listen to Joe Brady?
I saw someone clap back at Emmanuel Acho. That's who you're referring to. They said, dude, you had 22 tackles in your career. Why should Shedeur Sanders listen to you?
Well, exactly.
You know, if you're going to demean this coach.
But that's not even, that shouldn't even be the point. I brought it up. You bring it up. It's a fair point. But the point is, the message itself is wrong.
Yes.
Don't listen to a head coach. Aren't their first-year head coaches just why should Caleb Williams have listened to Ben Johnson? He was never a head coach, right? At what point should Aaron Rodgers have listened to Matt LaFleur? Matt LaFleur had never been a head coach. At what point do you go, okay, I'm going to start listening to this guy?
Dan Campbell had never been a head coach till Detroit, right?
Why would Jared Goff listen to him? No, seriously.
And before that, Sean McVay. Why would he listen to Sean McVay?
Right. Got him to a Super Bowl. Why would you listen to any of them? Why do people say things like that and not recognize that is so completely off base? But I'm not sure we truly appreciate that. They didn't bring up Aaron Glenn in the article. They brought up Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson was successful with the Bears. Aaron Glenn has not been successful with the Jets. And it's ridiculous. They dealt with injuries, ran into some tough luck on one-score games, but they have one of the best rosters in football. I don't disagree with that. We'll continue this conversation. Do you think it's justified? We'll give you some other coaches that they put up near Dan Campbell. but not at number one. Dan Campbell, number one, according to this ESPN article. We're back with more on Affairs Coffee Friday, brought to you by Meyer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Back with you on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Michigan State tonight. We'll talk about it from a Michigan perspective with Brian Bush, Michigan basketball play-by-play voice. Earlier today, we replayed our interview with Sadie Washington, MSU assistant coach, as the Spartans welcome in the Wolverines in a top 10 battle between these two teams. Really looking forward to tonight. We want you to join us. There's a couple of different ways you can still go or at least be part of it, okay? One way you can go is Lansing Brewing Company still has a pair of tickets to tonight's game. Bill Simonson is broadcasting live from there from 3 until 5 today. They also have $10 cases of beer. So, students, head over there, right? Anyway, you get a chance for 2 tickets, and they're really good seats, too, for Michigan State at the Breslin Center. If you go to Bill's show at Lansing Brewing Company, right there on Shiawassee in Lansing. And if you can't go and you want a great place to watch it, Ascend Inside Soaring Eagle is the place for a lot of different reasons. Really good food, cold drinks, a lot of different TVs, but all should be on Michigan State. I suppose maybe one would be on the Pistons Warriors tonight, but it's Michigan State. And we've got the watch party there. Mitch Lyons will be there with us, Michigan State tight end, and Jimmy King, former Michigan basketball player, will be with me as we watch the game with you. Eat, drink, and be merry. Let's have some fun, okay? Mitch loves his Spartans. He's going to be all in. Jimmy loves his Wolverines. He will be all in. I need you there to be part of the fun, all right? So head out to Soaring Eagle tonight if you can. Come see us. Stop by and say hello. So we were talking just before the break that Dan Campbell, according to this ESPN article, is the best coach hired since 2021. And for a lot of different reasons, okay? A lot of frustrating losses, as they said in the article. Detroit lost some key members of his staff and so on and so forth. It's interesting that some of those key members of the staff now get fired after 1 year with the Jets. Well, what are people saying right now? Nobody's saying anything about Aaron Glenn. They write they came within a drop or two of making it to the Super Bowl in 2023, overachieved in 2024 by winning 15 games. How did they overachieve in 2024? Can somebody help me with that?
Maybe they mean relative to, like, in real time as the injuries started to pile up. Maybe that was considered overachieving. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how they overachieved necessarily. They were expected to be very good.
Yeah, and then
they didn't win a playoff game.
They won 15 games despite being down to third stringers on defense. Okay. We know they lost Aiden Hutchinson. It's a fact. Replaced him with Zadarius Smith. Who were the third stringers on defense that they were desperately relying on? Do you recall? Sometimes my memory isn't that. Sometimes your memory is a lot better than mine when it comes to things like this. I think sometimes we have a tendency to overblow things. All right. They went 15-2. They won the division. They were the number 1 seed. They blew it against Washington. Don't disagree with any of that. What I'd like to know is, who are the third stringers on defense? Are they getting confused with this year? Who are the third stringers on defense?
I couldn't tell you who they were, but I
could. If you're going to start to tell me that Josh Paschal was an original starter, but he got hurt and somebody had to fill in for him and it's a backup, I would argue that point, because Paschal played, 2 games? He was a nothing burger. DJ Reader was a starter. Ali McNeil was a starter. Zadarius Smith was a starter as soon as they acquired him. Alex Anzalone missed some time with a broken arm, but came back. Jack Campbell played. Malcolm Rodriguez missed some time, but he was more of a special teams guy.
Carlton Davis was a big one, I think. Okay. He was your number 1 corner.
Okay. He played half the season.
Yeah, he broke his jaw. That was a weird one.
Right. They still had Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. Third stringers? Were they really playing with a bunch of third stringers? I think that's a very misleading statement. In the end, they write, put it this way. If you had to predict a single hire from the past 5 years to still be in his current job 15 years from now, who would you pick? My choice would be Campbell, who has become the face of the franchise in Detroit. They have Dan Campbell ahead of Nick Sirianni, who has taken his team to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. You may not like him. You may not like that he turns around and starts yelling at his hometown fans, which is stupid. You may not like some of the stupid things that he says at a podium. But the dude has won. And by the way, he's had different offensive coordinators on a pretty regular basis. And yet they still won. It's not like I'm a big fan of his. Mike McDonald is behind Dan Campbell. Maybe it's because he's only been in Seattle for 2 years. Second year, he's gotten his team to the Super Bowl. And you and I could debate this. I'm betting Seattle wins. I think they're the better team. You? He's pretty damn good at what he does. Okay? And I know they say it's not hard to make a star cornerback Devin Witherspoon look good. All these coaches have good players. Do you think it helped Nick Sirianni that Saquon Barkley was one of the best at what he does? Do you think it helped Nick Sirianni that he had Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis or
a big part of the nucleus on that defense that went to a Super Bowl 2 years before he got there?
Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl 2 years before he
brings
got there.
Brings in Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
Brings in, a really good player from Iowa who's considered the best, I think, slot corner, Cooper DeJean. You think that helps? Do you think it helps to have a guy like a former Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith? Or the best offensive line in football? Come on, man. You're going to take that away from Mike McDonald? That's not fair. He's done a hell of a job. Mike Vrabel is 4th. I think Mike Vrabel deserves to be higher. What he's done in New England this year. Answer me this. And I'm talking to just air here. Answer me this, though. Give me 3 starters on New England's defense. You know football. Go. 3 starters. Christian Gonzalez.
Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis because he's a former Lion. Anybody else?
Not by name. They got that big D lineman I can picture. I can't give you his name.
Yeah. Christian Barrymore. I was going to say the former Western Michigan Bronco, Robert Spillane.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. But that's because he went to Western.
Yeah.
That's because he was an undrafted free agent, turned captain with the Raiders, now comes to New England. He's a massive difference maker. It's funny, isn't it? I think he deserves to be higher. Anyway, Vrabel is 4. 5, they have DeMeco Ryans for the Houston Texans. 6 is Sean Payton. Stuck his foot in his mouth again the other day. Wanted to talk to reporters. Told him too much about his quarterback's ankle injury. And Bo Nix didn't like it. 7 is Kevin O'Connell, who won Coach of the Year last year. Ben Johnson is 8. That's what you were looking for, right? You were waiting for me to get to Ben Johnson because you want to grip the wheel tighter in your car because you want to pound the desk harder at home. Number 9 is Jim Harbaugh, and number 10 is Dan Quinn. I'm not going to read all of them. Aaron Glenn, I think some people would be interested to know where he is. And considering the number of coaches they have, and this isn't the gospel. Just because ESPN writes it doesn't mean it's true. You have your own opinion. But what's interesting is he's behind. Aaron Glenn is behind guys who've been fired. That's how bad Aaron Glenn has been. I'll give you an example. Mike McDaniel is 13. Aaron Glenn is behind him. Robert Saleh. Well, wait, Shep, he just got hired by Tennessee. No, Robert Saleh with the Jets is ahead of Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Doug Peterson with Jacksonville is ahead of Aaron Glenn. Brian Dable for the Giants is ahead of Aaron Glenn. Brandon Staley of the Chargers is ahead of Aaron Glenn. That's hard to believe. Arthur Smith of the Falcons. Dennis Allen of the Saints. Raheem Morris, who just got fired. Matt Eberflus of the Bears, Jonathan Gannon of the Cardinals. Gerard Mayo had 1 year in New England at 4-13. Brian Callahan of the Titans. They are all ahead of Aaron Glenn on this list. Glenn is 29th, just ahead of Antonio Pierce, and Pete Carroll is dead last. I wonder if Pete Carroll did anything to his reputation.
Wait, so what? Antonio Pierce is second to last? So they got
Second.
two Raiders coaches in the last two spots. Man, that's tough.
Isn't that brutal?
That is.
But that's Aaron Glenn's still coaching. Dennis Allen was awful. He's the defensive coordinator in Chicago right now, and they have him ahead.
And they give him more credit. Yeah. Yeah. Not a great place to be, AG.
No, brutal. Speaking of the Lions, there's one of Detroit's best up for one of the postseason awards, and that is Protector of the Year. This is a new award. Penei Sewell is a finalist. I don't think he should or will win it. Now, he's a first-team All-Pro. Third straight year he's done that. He's one of 6 finalists. Here are the other finalists. Garrett Bowles of Denver. I think he should win it. Aaron Brewer of Miami. He's a center. Creed Humphrey of Kansas City. He's a center. Joe Tooney of Chicago. He's a guard. And Quinn Menares for the Broncos. He's a guard. Tooney and solidifying that Chicago offensive line, and he was their best offensive lineman, probably is in the running for it as well. My guess is it goes to Garrett Bowles. He's one of the best pass protectors in football. And considering what Denver did, the number 1 seed, I'm sure people will side with that. It'd be really hard for Penei Sewell to win that. It's determined by an elite selection committee of NFL legends, which is pretty funny, right? I mean, considering what's happened, the NFL has gone through if any sport can go through a tough time from the media, it's the NFL, all right? But it hasn't gone through a great period of time, has it? Not since the Hall of Fame vote against Bill Belichick, him not getting in on the first ballot. And I know there's other people who have deserved to be in on the first ballot and didn't get there. People bring up Terrell Owens all the time, all right? Just ask Ryan Clark immediately. Bill Belichick, well, how about Terrell Owens? Okay, hang on there, bud. It's a little different resume. It's not that it's not justified to talk about it, but can you just focus on the one guy it's about right now, not about the guy a long time ago who now wants to come back on social media and tell everybody, I should have been a first balloter too. And then when you did get there, you never showed up. So let's just pump the brakes a little bit. But there's something else involved here for Ryan Clark, as always with him. And it's blatant. And ESPN just goes, no big deal. I'm not worried about it. Okay. Anyway, I'd love to know who the elite selection committee is, considering the amount of negativity the NFL has received lately. Roger Goodell with a recent appointment, a guy who's gotten in all kinds of trouble. Forget about the 13 felonies, right? And then Bill Polian. What Bill Polian did. I saw something on social media. The people who are the top 5 people sports fans can't stand right now. Victor Wembanyama was 5. I don't know why. LeBron James was in there. I think he was 3. Bill Polian was number 1. And they had him in a NFL Hall of Fame gold jacket. And then AI turns his face into a clown and he starts tap dancing. Anyway, it's a tough thing for the NFL to overcome. It really is. Even Sewell admits, he was, remember, after the season, he was critical of his own performance. He said after the season, I think it was, this was written, I think was it last week, where he said, he's vowing to set the tone for the offensive line next year. He's going to come back. He wrote this, or he said this in a Detroit News article. This year alone, it wasn't my best ball. It was far from that. I'm a firm believer it starts with me up front. I believe that I'm going to set the tone. I'm going to make plays that typically old linemen don't make. So this year was definitely a down year for me, And we'll start with that. He's going to work harder to get things. Now, again, it shows you such a high bar for a guy who's that talented in Penei Sewell. He said at the end of the day, there you go, end of the day. It was just new faces and new people that came in. I think we weren't connected as we were the year before. Just took some time to really get a feel for one another. Going into next year, that's the thing. Just that connection and everyone being on point detail-wise, which is great, okay? Maybe that's a good example of why they will keep Tate Ratledge at right guard. So suddenly those two have a connection, all right? It's a Harry Met Sally thing. It's a connection. How's that connection with Tate Ratledge and the new center? Because there's going to be a new center. There has to be. And then that center with a new left guard, unless Christian Mahogany stays there, and then with a possible new left tackle. It's not the only unit. Yes, I said unit, but it is the most important unit that works in tandem with one another. As good as Hank Fraley is as an offensive line coach, and he's one of the best in the business, you've got to play football next to a guy that you're going to be taking 70 snaps a game with, year in and year out, 900 snaps with. You're going to have to do this. You got to create that bond, create that connection as quickly as possible and sustain it and actually improve on it. They had a hard time doing that this year, whether it be communication or familiarity or whatever the case may be. Anyway, bottom line is I don't think he's going to win it, but it's pretty cool that he's up for it. Who's going to win the game tonight at Breslin Center between Michigan and Michigan State? We'll talk about that in the 8 o'clock hour, of course. And just a quick thought on a roster prediction that came from the Free Press yesterday on the Detroit Tigers and where that has you emotionally. It's not a lot different, man. And I think a lot of people were hoping there would be some differences in that. We're not going to see that, at least from what this projection is. And I know it's the first projection, and it may not be the final one. You're bound to miss some things. The pitching, I will say this. The bullpen looks really good. If the projection is correct, the bullpen looks really good. Everything else, you're just hoping that the guys in the field of play are going to improve upon what they did a year ago. It's a lot to ask for a lot of different players. We'll talk about that in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Brian Bush, the play-by-play voice for Michigan basketball, joins us at 8:35 on X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday. And we're brought to you this hour by Meyer.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Doran Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Doran Mayhew is proud to partner with The Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Doran Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is a managing shareholder at Doran Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on The Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington putting love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, You can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Back with you on a Ferris Coffee Friday. Thanks for being with us throughout the state of Michigan. We're brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. In case you missed it last night, Pistons fall hard in Phoenix, 114-96. Dylan Brooks was the best player on the floor. He had a career-high 40, leading 4 different Suns players in double figures. Cade Cunningham countered with 26. Jalen Duren had 23 and 13. The problem was in the paint, in the glass, or off the glass. Phoenix dominated 47-37. Phoenix also hit 16 triples. Detroit's in Golden State tonight. Red Wings losing a shootout to the Capitals 4-3, so they get the point, but they're 2 points back of Tampa, who won 4-1 last night. And they're still trailing Carolina in the Eastern Conference. Carolina's in the Metropolitan Division. Detroit's in the Atlantic Division. And Carolina was a winner. They came back and beat Utah last night. An incredible come-from-behind win. Patrick Kane did pick up an assist on the goal from Ben Sherrod to become the all-time leader in points by an American-born player with 1,375. Alex DeBrincat had 2 goals and an assist. So DeBrincat was really good for Detroit. And Patrick Kane, they were able to stop and celebrate what he did. And Mike Modano had a congratulations, since that broke the tie, and a very classy congratulations from Mike Modano, the Westland, Michigan native. Patrick Kane has played for 3 franchises in his career. All 3 of them original 6. That's awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody had a picture on social media of a scrum between, I think it was the Vancouver Canucks and the Buffalo Sabres. And the caption read, most points scored by a U.S.-born player. The kid in the right corner of the picture, and it was Patrick Kane as a little kid up against the glass.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, he's played for the Blackhawks, Rangers, and Red Wings.
All-American teams, by the way, too. Not just original 6, but American original 6 teams.
Excellent point. Excellent point. I said this for a while now, and I said this right after the Sergei Fedorov jersey retirement. I hope all of us are appreciating the players who have played for this franchise and the players who we've had a chance to watch. Like, you and I didn't see Gordie Howe. We didn't see Ted Lindsay. We didn't see Alex Delvecchio. We didn't see Terry Sawchuk. All right. We didn't see some of those great players, all-time great players. All right. We never watched Red Kelly. But to see Yzerman and Lidstrom and Fedorov and Shanahan,
Datsuk
and Zetterberg, and a guy like Patrick Kane, even a Dylan Larkin, who's been really good. He's got a long way to go. Mo Seider's got an even longer way to go. But Mo Seider's one of the best defensemen in hockey right now. Some people think he'll be a finalist for the Norris Trophy. We've seen some of the greatest play. Not that Larkin and Seider will be in that conversation. Kane's in the conversation. Mike Modano played for the Red Wings. He's in the conversation. Among the best players to ever play the sport, many of them have worn the Red Wings wheeled sweater. It's really cool.
And that's why it's even cooler that for Patrick Kane to break this record, to do it in a Wings sweater, is remarkable. Because at this point in his career, a lot of these benchmarks that he's reaching, he's doing it in a Red Wings sweater.
Well, a lot of guys hang on for the sake of hanging on. He's not hanging on.
He's still producing. Yeah.
He's still playing at a high level. This is not, with all due respect, Miguel Cabrera in his final year. This is Patrick Kane being an important part of this team's success. They've got 70 points, which is 3rd most in the Eastern Conference. He's a big reason for it because he plays on the #1 power play unit and plays on the second line of this team. Even at his advanced age, who cares? He can still play. Now, he's never been a great defensive player. No one's ever going to confuse him for being able to play both ways. All right? But from a contribution standpoint, and you can see how much players love that guy, you can see how much they respect him, not just because of the numbers he's put up, 1,375 points, but because of how he handles his business. It was awesome last night. Here's why I would be pissed off. The game was on ESPN Plus, dude. That's what's happened. History was made. We've got to see it on social media.
You know what?
Unless you were watching the NHL Network, which is what I was doing. I was watching the NHL Network, and they were bouncing back and forth. It's red zone in the NHL.
Red zone, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's brilliant on their part. NBA, I'm sure, does it too. Major League Baseball will, cut in every once in a while. But I think it's awesome what the NHL was doing last night and giving us 4 boxes and all these different. That's how you watch the Rangers and the Islanders. That's how I watched the comeback by Carolina. That's how you saw Montreal and Colorado play. But Colorado came out in their Quebec uniforms, which was awesome, right?
It's
Something
the easiest
special.
way to try to follow the league as closely as you can because all these games are happening at the same time, right? So,
well, yeah, but I want to see. Come on, you and I both wanted to see the entire game, number one. And number two, well, you don't watch as much hockey, but I know you wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Number two, you want your hometown announcers with that.
Yeah, that's another great point. And it didn't really cross my mind, Shep, because
we got John Buccigross last night, dude.
It was a little bit of a clown show. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, Judas Priest. What are we doing here? What are we doing? ESPN Plus. ESPN tries to care about it. They give it to a guy who loves hockey, and he's the only guy who loves hockey. Well, maybe Steve Levy, but you rarely see Steve Levy anymore on ESPN. So they reward him by giving him games, even though he's not very good at it. They reward him. Okay, fine. ESPN Plus, this is what you're doing to the fan base now, and the NHL allows it? It'd be one thing if we're on ESPN. They'll show a highlight here or there. They may show a really good play in their top 10 before it gets overpassed by soccer highlights. But come on, man. What are we doing?
Yeah, and I'm sorry if they did try this, but why don't they ever flex stuff? Do they in the NHL? You would know more than I do, but I feel like the other leagues do a much better job of if there is a potential milestone or a jersey retirement, Mark Aguirre last night, something like that. They will flex the game.
Yeah.
And on the fly. And you're going to have fan bases that aren't happy with it, but you're probably going to get better ratings because
I would hope
hockey fans probably all wanted to see Patrick Kane break that record.
I think everybody
last
did.
night.
There were people all over the sports world, all over Sports Scope being able to contribute to that.
Especially Americans.
Hockey.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's your audience. You're in ESPN. It's an American audience primarily. I mean, I just, and for the NHL to allow it, I think is pretty bad. Okay. Maybe I'm living in the past. Okay. I'll open the door for that. I'm living in the past. Cut the cable, Shep, for crying out loud. How many people have all your apps? How many apps do you have? How many streaming services do you have? And does it add up? Right. How much does it add up? You ever add them all up?
No, I'd be sick if I did.
You would be. You probably pay the same as I pay for cable. I bundle mine, but whatever. I mean, it's you could do all that.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, you've got a moment like that, and we're doing what ABC did back in 1980. Let's tape delay Team USA against Russia. That's what they did.
Woohoo.
Smart, right? The Olympics are going on. Team USA is playing Russia. And what do? We hear a news anchor in the 11 o'clock news tell us who won. He didn't say turn away. This is in Detroit. He didn't say turn away. He didn't say earmuffs.
Just came out and
this
said
is
it.
not an old school movie. Vince Vaughn tells his kid to earmuffs. All right. Come on, that's a funny line. Anyway, that's how we find out. This is what it's become for today's NHL. ESPN Plus.
The big picture here, which should shock nobody, and I know it doesn't shock Matt Shepard, ESPN has yet again dropped the ball, or the puck in this case, in a very critical situation. Can't do anything right over there, can they? Seems like it sometimes, man.
I do wonder who runs that place.
And they're supposed to be the worldwide leader in sports.
Supposed to be.
I can't tell.
Yeah, they'll feed off that for a long time. And I think, by the way, just in full marks for them, I think a lot of their production is really good for games. Okay, I do. Doesn't mean I have to agree with everything, but I mean, I think a lot of the way they go about it is their production is pretty damn good. Football primarily, and some basketball stuff. They hype it up. I would like to see more attention paid to something like this, and I think having that game on that ESPN Plus channel, extra support channel, that it's like FanDuel Plus. They would have if FanDuel had that, they would have had the reverse because of what was going on, and the Pistons would have played on FanDuel too. Mitch Lyons, poll question real quick. Best Michigan player, who do you think it is? who has been their best player? Is it Morris Johnson, Yaxel, Landelborg, Trey McKinney, or other? That's the Mitch Lanswell poll question of the day. Vote as often as you want at XP Mornings. When we come back, we'll preview that game and a quick thought on the Tigers after this.
Step into luxury this January with a $275,000 Escalade giveaway at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 2 lucky guests will win $250 in premium play and 250 bonus entries every hour. And don't miss the grand finale on January 30th and 31st at 11 p.m. One lucky winner each night will drive away in a 2026 Cadillac Escalade. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
You guys seen the Jennings Dunker interview on NFL Network? You want to laugh? Let me go ahead and check that out. They interviewed Jennings Dunker at the Senior Bowl. He's a tackle for Iowa. He's got the mullet and everything. It's hilarious. Now all people in all kinds of different markets want him on their team because of somebody asked him about his diet and what he eats. Now he eats a bunch of pasta. Then he has 3 cheeseburgers from Culver's. Sorry to give free advertising there. And one of the co-hosts on NFL Network says, "What's Culver's?" And Dunker says to him, "Are you serious? Oh my God, dude. How do you not know?"
Basically, you haven't lived.
Yeah.
Is what he's telling him.
He was absolutely stunned that he had never had one before. It's pretty funny. I am a little stunned. I think a lot of people are, that the Tigers, and look, it's late in the whole process, right? What, opening day 55 days away, I think? 55? As they get ready for spring training, and pitchers and catchers report in 12 days, February 11th. Position players report February 15. That's how quickly it's upon us. I saw a projection from Detroit Free Press on what their lineup is going to look like. And I want you to tell me, all right? So play a quick little game here. I want you to tell me your thoughts on it. Just a quick thumbs up or thumbs down, okay? Starting catcher, Dylan Dingler.
Thumbs up.
For sure, right? Gold Glove Award winner. Yeah. First base, Spencer Torkelson.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Don't disagree with that either. Okay. He's going to get you 30 homers.
Yeah.
He's going to drive in 90 runs. He's not going to hit for high average. Understand that. Please. He's not going to walk a ton. He's going to strike out. He's going to drive in runs. That's his job at first base. When he can't hit homers or drive in runs, then you can say get him out. But that's his job. That's what he does. All right? You'll take 31 and 90, wouldn't you? For sure. Second base, Gleyber Torres.
Offensively, thumbs up.
Okay. So I'm a thumbs down there, but there's nothing you can do about it. Shortstop, Zach McKinstry.
Down.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm a Chippewa.
Good utility player.
Thumbs down. Has nothing to do with it. Right. It has nothing to do with it. All right. He's not Bo Bichette. He's not Ellie De La Cruz. He's not Trey Turner. He's not Mookie Betts. He's not Corey Seager. I know those are the best of the best. I'm just saying you can't be expected to keep winning with stuff like this. You've got to get an everyday guy. Third base, Colt Keith.
Thumbs down. I just don't have faith he'll be able to play the position super well. We'll see.
I don't either.
I like Colt Keith as a player, but at third base that's probably the biggest question mark going into this season for me. It's up there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I agree with you on that. He is the biggest question mark. I like him, first of all. I think he's going to be a good hitter. Hit 254 last year. But
I don't think they know where to put him.
I don't either. I think they screwed him up. When they moved him to first base, I think they screwed him up. He should have been at second base. Let him stay at second base, learn second base. You didn't think Spencer Torkelson was going to win it back over? Then go get a first baseman. Leave that kid at second. But here's the issue. You've got other guys who are better than he is at second base moving up. Kevin McGonigal is going to be a better second baseman than him. Bryce Reiner is going to be a better shortstop than Zach McKinstry, than what you have.
Right. So in an ideal world, Colt Keith comes in and learns how to play third and does it at a high level, and then we're all happy. But it's just right now you can't bank on that. So it's thumbs down.
Right. Max Anderson might be that guy, though. That's the problem. He did grade out 0 defensive run saves in 254 innings at third base. That's 254 innings. It's not enough. Anyway, outfield, Riley Green in left.
Thumbs up.
Some people think he's the best left fielder in baseball.
Yeah, you can't justify thumbs down on Riley Green. You can't.
Parker Meadows in center.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Wenzel Perez in right.
Thumbs sideways. I mean, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Because Kerry Carpenter is going to play out there a little bit too.
And Carpenter's your DH, and you're a thumbs up there.
For sure.
Okay. Here's your bench. Jake Rogers.
Down. I know you got to carry two, so it is what it is.
Javier Baez.
Down.
Matt Vierling.
Up. If he's healthy, up. Good utility guy.
Jahmai Jones.
Down.
Starting rotation: Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, Reese Olson, Drew Anderson.
Overall up.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. And your bullpen: Kenley Jansen, Kyle Finnegan, Will Vest, Tyler Holton, Brant Herter, Brendan Hannafy, Kiter Montero, Drew Summers.
Lots to prove there. I'll go thumbs up because I trust Chris Fetter and I trust a lot of these guys based on what they did last season. But as a guy like Jason Foley showed us or Alex Lang showed us, 1 year does not always translate to the next in the bullpen. So they got to go out and prove it.
I would say thumbs up on 4 of them. A lot to prove with others.
That's
for
fair.
Sure.
That's fair.
I do wonder what they're going to do with Bo Brisky, because I think he belongs in that bullpen too, instead of Kiter Montero, but I could be wrong. You've got to have some lefties, and they do. Summers, Herter, Holton are all lefties. You can't have all righties. Teams have done it. Houston's done it in the past, and they won a World Series. But in a perfect world, you'd like to have a lefty or two. Basically, what you're saying is your thumbs up with this same team that you had a year ago. I mean, there's a few names different in the bullpen, right? There's a different starter, but it would be Jackson Jobe if he were healthy instead of Drew Anderson. All right. Your thumbs up on a Reese Olson who can't stay healthy, a Jack Flaherty who was terrible a year ago, and a guy, Drew Anderson, who's coming back from Japan.
Well, here's the thing, though. If I can cheat a little bit, you can be thumbs up on a guy and still not think the team can't get better. You know what I mean? Like, you can be thumbs up on, in this case, Spencer Torkelson at first. However, you could, and the Tigers won't do this, but you could, in theory, have a better first baseman. You could have a bigger thumbs up or a more confident thumbs up, and then the team's getting better. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm okay with running it back from last year's team, but when you go around the lineup, like, a thumbs up doesn't mean that this team's going to win a bunch of games, if that makes sense. There's still room for improvement.
A thumbs up to me means that you're
content with it.
What you're okay with it. I'm not okay with their starting rotation. I believe in 2 guys, Skubal and Mize. Okay. I believe in 4 of their bullpen players. I believe in 2 guys off the bench, and I like Parker Meadows. I do. Every day in center field.
I guess my thumbs up there, it was close. I lean thumbs up because I like him defensively.
Think about this. Instead of Jahmai Jones, you had Wenzel Perez coming off the bench. Instead of Javier Baez, you had Zach McKinstry as your utility. Instead of Colt Keith at third base, he comes off the bench or plays in different roles. You have 3, I think, holes in this team right now.
I don't think you're wrong there at all.
Okay. That's why it's hard for the thumbs up. It is a thumbs up tonight in the matchup between Michigan and Michigan State. Brian Bush, the Michigan basketball play-by-play voice, will join us at the bottom of the hour at 8:35. I do wonder, just one more thought. I do wonder if any of us are tired of reading about all the great prospects. You know, Tigers have 2 prospects in the top 10, MLB pipeline top 100. How about the team? How are they going to do?
How about what they got now? Yeah.
Yeah. How about the guys who are supposed to be there right now? The guy who will be here right now talking about Michigan and Michigan State. We heard from Sadie Washington earlier in the show. How about Brian Bush and the Michigan perspective? He will join us when we come back on X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday. And we're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Pumped for tonight for sure, as Michigan and Michigan State clash, the first of two meetings between the two teams, two top 10 teams, two of the best teams in America, two of the better coaches in college basketball. And, of course, Brian Bush will be on the call with my friend Terry Mills, calling it at the Breslin Center on the Michigan Athletic Sports Network as they go up against MSU at the Wolverines, ranked third in the nation. And he joins us here on X's and BrO's, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Brian, appreciate the time very much, my friend. The comeback win over Nebraska was impressive. I know a lot of people, I hate to say this, on social media talk about, well, they were down and they got lucky, and that's not how you win games. I don't care. It's as long as you win. What did you like most about the spunk that team showed in coming from double digits down against an undefeated team?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's interesting because I got a handful of texts or emails or whatever after that game, and a lot of them were trending toward, well, what's going on with what's the problem? How are they going to bounce back? And it's like, well, they beat a top 5 undefeated team, and yeah, was it pretty? Absolutely not. But I think this team set an unrealistic expectation with what they did in Vegas, especially considering the league that they're in. You know this, Shep. When you're in the Big Ten, any win feels like it's a grind, and you're thankful to get it at the end. Michigan State's in the same boat from Tuesday night to Piscataway. So what I thought Michigan did well, and Nebraska did it too. I mean, that was two different games, first half to second half. I mean, it was an offensive slugfest into a defensive war, and both teams made the defensive adjustments, but Michigan was able to figure things out against a Nebraska team that doesn't make mistakes. They know where to pass the basketball. They shut down Lawrence and Sanford. They only combined for, I think it was 10 second half points after 30 in the first half. So they found their way defensively, which, hey, they've got a lot of fun offensive players, but this Michigan team, like this Michigan State team, when they're really going, when they're clicking, they're thriving defensively because they're the two best defensive teams in the country right now.
It's not Michigan's fault that they won, 7 straight games by 18 points or more. Maybe they just set an unrealistic expectations for people outside their program. What is the difference, though, between playing then and now for the Wolverines?
I think part of it is the fact that, if you're in the Big Ten, you're studying other teams for months. For example, the Michigan-Gonzaga game, you've got coaches maybe studying that team in passing during the month of November because you don't know who you're going to play. You could play one of 14 teams in that third game out in Vegas. So, when you add some unique pieces like Michigan did and have coaches realize, yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to play Lendeborg, Johnson, and Mara on the floor at the same time, you've got to do some extra. There's some summer reading there, right? There's some things you've got to do to try to figure things out and learn a little bit. And I said it after the game. I don't know if I've ever gained more respect for a team in a loss after Tuesday than Nebraska. And I loved how they talked about it by saying, hey, it's not a moral victory, but they came in shorthanded. They came in with basically 6 trusted players and almost got out of here with a road win against a top 5 team. But in the Big Ten, you've got to finish the deal. Michigan finished the deal, and I think they did it without playing their best game. And I don't think they've played their best game for a while. They'll probably need it tonight in East Lansing.
You could argue Fred Hoiberg's the coach of the year in college basketball right now. Brian Bush is the voice of Michigan basketball, joining us here on X's and BrO's. What do you think Michigan's strength is, and what might be, they don't have many, but what might be their weakness?
Well, I think the strength is their defense. So what they're able to do, the pressure they put on teams. And it's not all 40 minutes every game. That's what coaches strive for, and they'll never quite get there. Michigan got close in a few games earlier this year, but when they're at their best, they are using their defense to then fuel their offense. Michigan wants to get out and run, and Dusty's talked about the easiest way to do that is to get a defensive stop and then have a defensive rebound, ideally by a guard. Now, if it's Mara or Johnson, they're going to gobble up plenty, so it's not going to happen a ton, but Yaxel Lendeborg can be a guard in terms of bringing the ball up the floor. Elliot Cadeau and Amari Burnett, they're probably slightly above average rebounders for guards. So that's the strength. And Michigan showed that. They flexed their muscles in that area against Nebraska. Huskers didn't score in the last 3 minutes. I think they were scoreless on 8 of their last 9 possessions in that game. The weakness probably is that 3-point shooting. They're sub 30% this month. They showed some flashes of it. I think if to a man, if you ask people on the staff, they're happy with the looks they've gotten. They just haven't fallen. And I think maybe the more surprising one is Yaks. He was 0-6 against Nebraska. His 3-point shooting was a little bit more projection in terms of the volume they thought they could get out of him this season. And after a really good start, whether it's the calf injury or just Big Ten defenses, it hasn't quite been as efficient. Michigan has such a high floor that they can still win games when they shoot poorly from three. They did it on Tuesday night. But for them to truly reach that, number one with a bullet type of a ceiling, they need to be better from three. I don't think they need to go to Breslin and shoot 40% from three, but it'd be a really tough deal if they only shot 20, 25% up there, because Michigan State just doesn't allow many second chance opportunities, which, that's the one thing Dusty's talked about in the past. If you do miss threes, we got a lot of tall dudes who can go and get rebounds. Against State, that's really tough.
The other thing is turnovers, right? I mean, they had 19 cough-ups against Nebraska. Can't do that, especially against a team like MSU in such a hostile environment. And speaking of that, I'm interested to get your take on this. I've tried to explain it to folks for a long time, but I want your take on it. If you're not part of the Michigan State-Michigan rivalry, if you're not from the state, it can be hard to comprehend. Michigan has one player from the state of Michigan. Michigan State has 4. I don't know how many is enough, but how long does it take for someone to learn it in your mind?
I mean, I didn't grow up here, so it took me a little bit of time. So I can relate to it. And I don't know if you really truly understand till you feel it as a road player. And that's something that at least Michigan does have a ton more experience than they did last season. The only 2 guys who had really felt it were Namari Burnett and Will Cheddar. And in 24, the 8-win season, Michigan was going up there with 7 deuce offsuit. They didn't have the players. They didn't have the system. They didn't have much of a chance just because of what Michigan's roster looked like. Last year, on paper, Michigan State was the better team, but Michigan wasn't this, they weren't some, dud coming in. They had a really good season. They were a really good team. They happened to play there at probably their worst stretch of the season, and they didn't show up. It was a really poor performance. I think because of the fact that you've now got 4 returning rotation players, along with Adai Mara, who has played Michigan State, not at Breslin, but he's played them. Morez Johnson Jr. has played at Michigan State. Elliot Cadeau, point guard, well, I think is probably the most important individual player for Michigan, to your point, Shep, about those turnovers. He's played Michigan State twice, neither time in Breslin, but he's played them twice. He's also been a part of Duke, North Carolina. He's been a Tar Heel at Cameron Indoor. Like that, there aren't many comps to this. That's one of the very, very few. So they are coming into this with a lot more experience in the rivalry and with this type of juice. Now, will it be enough against a team who's, like you said, they've got guys who have been there for a long, long time. They've really impressed me all season with how well they have played. They got a lot of returns, but they also lost some key pieces, as you know. So they're definitely more well versed, and it's going to be, I think, a much better game than it was. But hey, it's been since 2018. Like you got to go up there and prove it, and it's one of the toughest places to play. I don't think they're going up there with 7 deuce offsuit this year.
Yeah, the emotion. I say this all the time. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. I think the hardest place to play in the Big Ten is Mackey. I think it gets the loudest. I would say Breslin is right behind it. Indiana 3rd.
Yeah, I would go. Purdue is my number 1 as well. I agree. I think I'd go Breslin 2 for a Michigan player. I think I'd go Illinois 2 for the entirety of the league. But I think that's the top 3. Indiana's right there. And I'll tell you what's becoming that way is Nebraska. Michigan State saw it. That's their only league loss. When Nebraska has a hint of contention, Pinnacle Bank Arena is an awesome environment. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to get a more hostile environment than a Wolverine in East Lansing. That is the most challenging spot to be in. And it's loud. They're relentless. The student section does a great job. And it's incumbent upon Michigan. They want to, even after makes, they want to get out and run. So Cohen Carr is probably going to have a highlight dunk sometime in this game. And Michigan's going to want to say, you know what, screw the noise. We're hustling down to the other end, and we want to try to score with 22 on the shot clock. If we can, great. Those just can't be possessions that turn into those turnovers, because I'm a believer in momentum swings in this type of game more than most. And if you have a highlight play for Michigan State and then you give it right back, the place has a chance to come unglued.
Yeah, I agree. I believe in stopping momentum as much as gaining it, especially in a place like Breslin. What is Dusty May? You're close with him. What does he say about going there and about experiencing the whole rivalry and the feel for hate but mutual respect for the two programs?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I've gleaned from him is just how much he has respected what is built up there. Dusty's a big time just fan of basketball, and when he's not coaching or recruiting or these days CEOing, he's watching hoops, and I'm sure he's watched a ton of Tom Izzo led teams. Judd Heathcote back in the day, like he mentioned him in some of our conversations this week, right? It's been, I think Mike Boynton Jr. said, Jason Richardson could still probably run a Michigan State practice because of the consistency. You understand what you're going to get, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to slow it down and stop it. It is a system that has been ingrained in players for decades. Now, yeah, the rivalry is real, and I think Dusty, like anything else, you can be a part of some rivalries, but you have to kind of experience it to really, really know. And I think most of all, he understands, and maybe he needed to experience it last year to truly grasp how much it means here. Because Dusty's very process oriented. He's very much on, hey, we're going to take in as much data as possible, as much information as possible, and put ourselves in the best position to win. And I'm all for that, right? Some people will say analytics are a dirty word. Yeah, you also got to play good ball. You also got to be able to have good players. Right? It's all a part of it. But this game feels different. And I think he felt that and believed that last year. I think he and everybody else knows that now.
It's a good point. Brian Bush, basketball play-by-play voice, Michigan Hoops, with us here on X's and Bros as he and the Wolverines travel to Breslin Center tonight to take on Michigan State. Not only are you the play-by-play voice for basketball at Michigan, but you're also involved in the football broadcast. What have you gleaned from Kyle Whittingham in your conversations with him so far?
Yeah, incredibly organized and detail-oriented, which is needed right now. This was, who knows how the system, the recruiting, all of that will show up on the field on Saturdays. But let's face it, this program needed a reset. They needed a new era. And I don't know if you can find realistically a coach who has that type of reputation, the type of long-term success in a place that, there's not a given right to be as good as Utah was compared to a handful of programs in college football, where as long as you don't have a sub-average coach, you're probably going to be pretty good. So this program needed that. I'm fascinated to see how the roster will come together, because I still think it requires several key players to, take significant steps. Bryce Underwood obviously being number one on that list. But I think Kyle Whittingham is the right coach at the right time this offseason to get things back in order. And will it make a huge change in terms of how things look on game days in the fall? I'm not sure. I'll be curious how he handles what should be a really good running back room, what has a chance to be a really good offensive line with a lot of returning players, but with still some question marks in passing. They like to throw the football. They like to run the football last year at Utah. They're one of the best offenses in the country. But I do think with what happened, with all the tragedy and chaos that unfolded after last season, the way that he has approached the offseason, the roster building, the communication is what Michigan needed. And it's easy to say now that will bode well come September and beyond. We'll see. But this kind of right place, right time for both parties, I think exists so far.
Yeah, I think he's the right guy at the right moment. I really do. Last thing for you, as you get ready for tonight, what do you think are keys for a Michigan and or Michigan State victory?
Yeah, I'll be watching the glass. I think both these teams, Michigan State has proven that they are an elite rebounding team. I think Michigan has shown flashes and had an ability to do it. If Michigan is not shooting 50% from three, they're going to need to find some second chance opportunities. That's what fueled them against Nebraska when the shot wasn't falling. I think 14 of their 27 second half points were second chance. So they have to be able to hold their own. They don't need to win the battle or anything along those lines. But last year, Michigan State had 14 and 12 offensive rebounds against Michigan. Everything that they can do to keep that to a single-digit number, I think, would behoove them. And then you mentioned the turnovers, right? You can't have a dud of a game. You called so many great games with John Beilein. Michigan will never be a John Beilein team in terms of the raw number of turnovers. And part of that is because of the tempo. Michigan wants to play much faster than what Coach Beilein wanted to do. But it can't be 20+%, with some of them being those high-impact, crowd charging turnovers that force a Dusty May timeout. And as I mentioned, Elliot Cadeau, I think he has to have a really good game. He's seen Michigan State. He's seen a rivalry like this, and he had 8 turnovers on Tuesday. He has to be better. Some of Michigan's worst performances last year were when Trey Donaldson struggled. And for as much fluidity as Michigan has on the roster, they really only have one true point guard in Elliot Cadeau. This has to be a 30-plus minute low turnover type of a game. He doesn't have to score a lot. He doesn't have to assist a lot. Get some of those hockey assists and just play clean, smooth basketball and get Michigan out in transition. If he plays like one of the best point guards in the Big Ten, Michigan has a really good chance.
Great breakdown. Brian, keep up the great work. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it very much. Enjoy tonight.
Thanks, Shep. Appreciate you, my man. We'll talk soon.
All right. You bet. Brian Bush, Michigan basketball play-by-play voice here on X's and Bros. Let's get to the final results of our poll question. The Mitch Lineswell poll question we asked you yesterday. Who's been MSU's best player this year? Jeremy Fears, Jackson Kohler, Cohen Carr, or other? Trent, how did people vote?
Not much of a surprise. 82% said Jeremy Fears. Jackson Kohler and Cohen Carr each got 9%. Nobody voted other. So those are your top 3 guys right there.
Okay. We've got that same for Michigan on our poll question today at XB Mornings on Twitter. Is it Morris Johnson, Yaxel Landelborg, Trey McKinney, or other? Vote as often as you want. How about the daily wager? How'd we do last night?
Not good. Horrible. Took the Pistons and Wings to both win. They both lost.
Horrible.
So not great. They were both favored. They both lost. It is what it is. But
right.
Tonight, Michigan State, we got to go there. And instead of picking a side, this line has moved all over the place. I think Michigan State's going to win.
We know the side you're
but I'm going to take the over because that's more fun for our audience. Life's too short to bet the under. Let's hope this is a high-flying, fun game. There's going to be some key defensive stops. But let's root for points. Over 146.5 tonight, Shep. Sparty wins.
It's going to be an absolute energetic, combustible moment on a regular basis for Michigan and Michigan State. I mean, it's going to be blowing up constantly. I hope everybody gets an opportunity to enjoy it. I hope you get a chance to go out to Lansing Brewing Company from 3 to 5 today for a chance to win 2 tickets to the game tonight with Bill Simonson and get $10 cases of beer. And if you're not going to the game, make sure you're with us at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, where Mitch Lyons and Jimmy King join me for the watch party. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go in